This is going to be the uncut version. George, fuck you.
Let me just get my shoes off.
What are you doing here?
Putting up my flies. There we go.
Okay. They'll always be in England, George. What's up?
I love this book.
Take two.
I hate this book. So epigrams. Why epigram? You don't have much place to hide when you've got two lines.
No, it's a terrible thing. It was actually an inoculation. I was abducted by the great epigrammist La Rochefoucauld. And, what do they call that? Stockholm syndrome.
Oh yes.
Yeah, it kind of went over to the other side.
You left your hostage taker.
That's it. They were a disease that hit me maybe when I was about 50. Picked up a copy of La Rochefoucauld's Maxims again. Suddenly that was the food I wanted to eat. And it never was the only thing I did. I kept writing other kinds of books, but it just became this sort of left-hand passion for the last almost 20 years now.
There's an interesting one here, when you say, in fact, in just the first one, number one, he said, he was on top of her, she was underappreciated.
Yeah.
You're a married man and, everyone tries to sort of reveal the writer. So are you feeling appreciated? I mean, it's a lovely turn of phrase, right? Because you could be underappreciated. That's or right. You could be underappreciated. So do you think these are appreciated, or do you think this is appreciated? Or
this form?
Mm-hmm.
This is the 5th book of these I've done.
Blimey.
And you have to be crazy to set out to publish a book of epigrams.
Right.
And then why not just get out while you're ahead? And some people wonder why I do them, and aren't they a bit mean? And some people don't get them, which is a little tiring. Because as a comedian, to explain a joke is it's already dead.
Yes, indeed. right. If you're explaining, you're losing.
That's very funny. If you're explaining, you're losing.
And as a comedian, and I know you're a fan of comedy. The classic thing is set up punchline, and these are kind of almost punchlines without setup. So it's always like boom, here it is. Which is remarkable.
But I just don't understand you, said the man who believed he understood himself. People say stuff and they don't hear what they're saying, and so part of the fun for me is to be listening to what they say and then to try to play with it.
And do you do that by sort of going out into the world and sort of, or do you...
it's everywhere.
It's everywhere. You turn on the TV and rent it?
I think it was with my wife that I first said we had made love or something, and I said that she was underappreciated.
Very nice. I gotta write that down. But then, 5 pages later, we said less that he wanted a divorce and more that for his wife he wished for a new husband.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's a sort of happiness comes through, and sometimes a sort of curmudgeonliness comes through, and I'm sort of just trying to understand a little bit about, I guess where your heart lies.
It doesn't tell the truth.
You found your place in the world and your gift to share, which must be, a huge relief for your mother and father. Do you know what I mean? That here is your place, and you found. I mean, some people don't find their calling.
I wouldn't call it a gift to share, because artists have to make other people share their gift. It's a kind of coercion. You know what I mean? Would that it were sharing. There's a famous book called The Gift by Lewis Hyde, and he's talking about art as a gift, to the community. Well, there's 1 billion comedians who would like to share their gift. I thought that, but when I was coming on to girls, I'd like to share my gift. So, Freud, they say, no sexual intercourse after age 40. Gandhi, celibate from age 36 on. Draw the correct inference. Well, what is the correct inference?
Right, what exactly?
But that's my point. I don't know. People have all kinds of ideas about chi, sexual chi, and achievement, and I'm saying, let's think about it. Here's one I love. With fuck you, the I is silent and well understood. With fuck you, the I is silent and well understood. Well, actually, it isn't well understood. A lot of people don't realize that when someone says fuck you to someone, they're saying, I fuck you.
Right.
That's really what's being said.
Right.
So to me, I hear the phrase fuck you and I say, well, what's really being said here? Who's doing what to whom?
Right.
It's not go fuck yourself. That isn't it. That's different. That's
a
different phrase.
Yeah. No, for sure. Well, and the interesting thing is, you sort of seem to be, you say the I is silent and well understood, but it's not well understood.
No.
So there's a whole bunch of things that draw the correct inference.
I'm kind of
I feel like you're fucking with me now. Is it well understood?
No.
Now I'm just feeling dumb. Because I'm like, I didn't understand that. Well, I'm not alone, it turns out.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, hey, think about it. Yeah.
I'm a student from Denmark, and I'm looking for people that I can look to and say, oh, he really changed the world, or made sort of a way how he thought he could change the world. So is there anything, what can I learn from you?
Well, what does art teach us? My kind of art might, if it's good, teach about accuracy and truth in language, right? A lot of language, particularly political language, but a lot of personal language is untrue. So working in this form might teach someone, might help them understand better how to hear what someone else is saying, what they're really saying, or how to speak more honestly or clearly themselves. It might also help someone be more aware of their own motivations. In other words, we often think we're right when we're blind to our own behavior. If you were interested in the music of the English language, this might be of some value.
When I finished reading this, I didn't think, whoa, I'm so lucky to be in this world. I'm so happy to be in a relationship. And are you disillusioned?
Oh, I think you can't be a human and live very long without knowing a lot about human shortcomings, right? But I think you can also savor what's beautiful. In the essay at the end, I quote Jonathan Swift. I tell you, after all, that I do not hate mankind. It is vous autres, you others, who hate them because you would have them be reasonable animals and you're angry at being disappointed. So he was saying his expectations were lower than Alexander Pope's, but it also didn't, it made him hate them, not hate them, but he did want to describe what was horrible in the things they did. Later in the same essay, I wrote that epigrammatists have to remember, beholders of human beings do generally discover everybody's face but their own. That if love can only express itself by hatred for the inappropriate, then one may come to resemble what he hates. And then finally, William Matthews, this wonderful American poet, wrote, from the Roman poet Martial, I learned foremost how important it is to find ways to be angry with human folly and failure and to be forgiving of it at the same time. If you've been in the Mideast, you've seen a lot of terrible things. But you're there because you want to do good, I presume. And so how do you both see the terrible things done on all sides in the recent history of the Middle East, and still try to have a faith that you can make change and do good things?
Yeah, as I said, I've been very focused the past months on human rights and how can we make a better world. And suddenly there was a lot, in the beginning there's a lot about, I thought it was all about intimacy, man and woman, sex. And then suddenly this came and it sort of stood out and was very different to me. Is it very different?
A lot of the epigrams are about human foible and human failing and human foolishness. And of course, George Bush might be considered the essence of a lot of human failings. And any American who lived through the Bush administration, of course, was ashamed of so many terrible things that were done. So he fits in the book because the book is often about human error. In year 6 of Operation Iraqi Freedom, George Bush said, I'm a man of peace. How could you say such a thing and be at year 6 of a war? And how could you have avoided combat but be planning a war?
I have a question about the title, hesitation marks.
The epigraphs that start the book, I have 2 quotes. So one of them describes dashes. Okay, and